So what were the people in Nazareth so upset about? What did Jesus say or do that got them to the point that they wanted to throw him off the cliff and kill him? And it helps to have, we have to have a little window into the mind of the Jewish people of that time. The Gentiles were the enemy. Okay? And this woman, the widow of Zarephath, guess what she was? A Gentile. The Gentiles were the enemy. Guess what Naaman was? A Gentile. Guess what Jesus is saying? Jesus is saying God is going to take care of the Gentiles before he takes care of you. And they thought, let's throw him off the cliff. So that's why they were so upset. Jesus comes just to save the Catholics, right? Right? See, if we had that mindset, then, I'm glad we don't have that mindset. But that's kind of their mindset. The Messiah is coming to take care of us, not those dirty Gentiles. The Messiah is coming to kill them. This was why Paul was so bent out of shape. He was like, the Gentiles are the enemies. Don't you know? This is before he was converted. And after he was converted, he was all about understanding that the mission of the Messiah was to bring salvation to the whole world, to gather us back in, to tear down the dividing line that separates us. Well, it was not an easy message for those folks to get. And so we have to make sure our challenge in reading this gospel today, our challenge is to make sure that we recognize that to those whom much is given, much will be asked. And we've been given a lot, right? Now, how God's mercy and how the grace of the Messiah works in the rest of the world, I'm not completely sure, but it is our mission not to simply write them off as condemned, but to strive with all our heart and mind to bring the good news of salvation, God's grace and mercy, and to understand that, when we stand before the judgment seat of God, he's not going to ask us about so-and-so. He's going to ask us about who? So, and the story of Naaman, the Syrian general, and that was a long story, but really it was concluded in the reading today to set us up so we know who Jesus is speaking about here. All the people of Israel that had leprosy, they weren't cured. Who was cured? A Gentile. And that Jesus used that to knock them over the head with, And again, that's why they were so mad. Now, when Jesus doesn't, anyway, it's hard to put Jesus in a box. I'll just put it that way. I'll just leave it at that. And they wanted to put the Messiah in a box. And we have to make sure our hearts and minds are open to the broadness of God's mercy and the height of God's expectations for us.